Hello Classic Crew, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about how I'm feeling this close to motherhood. If you are new to my channel, here we talk about classic living and traditional values, and I would love if you would consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. And I'd also love it if you would subscribe to my Substack newsletter, where you will get access to a ton of exclusive content, including my book club and exclusive weekly articles. And it's really where our community is growing and flourishing, and I've just had the most amazing time getting to know you guys. We do Zoom calls once a month where we do book clubs, and I've actually gotten to speak to so many of you guys, and so I've really loved it. So if you're interested in subscribing, head over to classicallyabby.substack.com. So recently on my channel, I've been doing kind of a series of just sharing my thoughts and talking about my feelings as I've been changing as a person through my pregnancy. I do feel like so many different things have been brought to the forefront of my mind, and I've really enjoyed the opportunity to talk and share about it with you all and hear your thoughts and opinions on it. So videos like this are not intended to change anyone's mind. They're really just a place for us to discuss and chat and share our ideas. So today I want to talk about motherhood, how it's almost here. My due date is about 4 weeks away. I'm 36 weeks, and it's so real now. So I'm really excited to get into today's video. So let's start. So the first thing I want to talk about is how I was feeling about 3 weeks ago and how I was afraid of meeting our son. I think that it's a really scary idea that you're about to meet a whole other person who you're just gonna have these incredible emotions and feelings for, and you can't experience it until you've experienced it. So I don't know if you've been there, if you are a mother, there's this fear of like, what if I don't know my kid? What if I don't have that feeling that everyone describes? And I kind of talked to my mom about it because I was feeling a little bit worried. And I talked to Jacob about it, and actually he was the one who gave me some insight. And because I've loved being pregnant so much, and I'm really gonna miss it, and I'm really gonna miss having this little guy inside of me, Jacob said to me, I think that it's natural for you to feel like you know who he is in there, and you don't know who he's gonna be when he's born. And that was just such a good way of putting it. Once Jacob kind of verbalized that feeling of, I know this guy who's been inside of me. I know this guy who's growing. I know this little boy, but I don't know what he's gonna look like. I don't know anything about him really once he's outside. And kind of verbalizing that actually allowed me to get more excited about meeting him. It made me go, oh, I do know this little boy. I know him. I've grown him. And it's just a matter of me getting to meet him in a sense. I think that really just put into perspective the fear I was having of like, who is this little baby gonna be? No. I know who he is. He's just here now inside my belly and not born yet. That made me feel so much more excited to meet him, and now I'm like on the edge of my seat. I can't wait. But I know that there is a fear, I would assume for many of us, of I hope I feel this feeling that everyone says is gonna happen when I have my baby, where this is everything to me. So I'd really love if you would share your thoughts and feelings in the comments. If you are somebody like me, if you're in your pregnancy and you've had that fear, or if you've already had a child and you kind of now know that was a fear that didn't need to have happened, or if you're somebody who isn't pregnant yet, but you felt that fear just outside of anything. I think that's just an interesting thing to talk about. Something else I've been thinking about is what I'm the most worried about as a mother. I'm not worried about him as an infant and what I would do to him, that I would be like a bad mother to a baby, because there's only so much you can do wrong in the sense of he sleeps, he eats, he goes to the bathroom. So if I'm there for all of those things and take care of him for all of those things, there's really not too much that I can mess up. The stuff that I think about and I get worried about as a mother is, when he's old enough to ask questions, and when he's old enough to remember my behavior. And I want to make sure that he always looks back on us raising him in a really positive way, and he feels excited about what we're teaching him. That's a really big responsibility. And I think it's a really wonderful responsibility that God gives us, that we are able to influence and shape our children's minds. But it's also scary because there's so much that you can mess up. As my mom always says, you're never going to get out of this life without a skinned knee, in the sense that, no matter what you do, even if you're a wonderful parent, there's no such thing as a perfect parent. And your child is always going to have some problems with what you did growing up. And I'm sure that's just part and parcel of being a parent. And I'm prepared for that in a sense. But I would really, it's important to me that we do our utmost to give our child and give our children the opportunity to look at their childhood fondly. And that's what's important to me. One of the things that I've been thinking about too is just about how all the sources that are available to us is just so overwhelming. It's like the worst form of decision fatigue. I don't know if you've heard this before. I don't know if you've heard that phrase before. But decision fatigue is the idea that we can only make so many decisions in a day before our brains just go, enough now, and you just can't make any more choices. With parenting, I feel like that's a constant battle. You're just constantly faced with choices, especially with the onslaught of information presented to us. Should we do this? Should we do that? Should we sleep train? Should we cry it out? Should we not do any of that? Should we do attachment parenting? I mean, there's so many different ways to parent, and you have to ultimately make the choice that's best for your family. But there's so many choices to make. And, I guess we're lucky that we have access to so much information and we have access to so many different options so that we can make informed decisions. But it's also like, oh my gosh, this is a lot, which is why I think it's so nice and so lovely that I have, my family to go to for advice. I have Jacob's family to go to for advice. I can see and put into practice things from people around me who I respect and love and who I think are good at parenting, and say, okay, well, I want to do the same thing, or maybe I want to do some things differently, and seeing it in practice as opposed to trying to do everything from scratch. I think that's something I remember reading somewhere, is that it's not always the best idea to try and approach parenting as if you're doing it from scratch, because there are traditions that have made sense for so long regarding parenting and children that really do work. And you don't always have to go to the newest idea to raise your kids. But I'd be curious to know, how did you choose what was best for your parenting style? Did you kind of go to family? Did you read a lot of books? Or if you aren't a parent yet, what would you go to look for? Do you think that you would want to copy your parents, or do you think that you would seek out advice on the internet, that kind of thing? I'm curious to know. So what am I the most confident about with motherhood, entering motherhood? Having Jacob alongside me. I am so excited to parent alongside my husband. Jacob is such a good man. He's such a good husband, and he will be such an amazing father. I have no doubt. And we really agree on all the fundamentals and all the basics about parenting, so we really can support each other in this journey. And we both are really intent on being intentional and deliberate with our parenting. So we really want to come to each other and be able to say, I noticed that you did this today, and I don't think maybe that was the best approach. Or this was a really wonderful thing you did today, and let's try and keep that up in the future because I want to do that too. I think that having Jacob alongside me it is just the best feeling in the world to know that I have the best partner in the world to raise this little boy. I think it can be very easy to fall into this trap as mothers that we are going to have to go into all of this alone, even though our husbands are right there. But because pregnancy is very, we're the ones going through it, even though our husbands are supporting us, it can almost kind of give you this feeling of like, oh, motherhood is going to be alone too. And not at all. As soon as I think about Jacob being this most active participant as a father and a husband, it like makes all of my stress about motherhood go away, because I know that I'll have him there, and I know how wonderful he's going to be in helping me and helping me raise this boy and being such a good father. The thing that I'm looking forward to the most is this new phase of life, is starting our family. It's so funny because when we got pregnant, I don't feel like emotionally connected to this specific pregnancy. I view it as the first of many, which is a nice perspective to have in a sense, because it's like, now we're on this stage of life. Now we're on this phase of life. It's not like, oh, I really have to cling to this pregnancy because it might be only one of two or something. Because I view this as, now we are starting our family, and now this is the first of many times I'm going to do this, please God, with God's help. Of course I value this pregnancy. Of course I value this baby. Oh my gosh. But it's also part and parcel of something greater and a bigger journey that we're on. And that's really exciting. I'm so excited to now be entering motherhood and seeing what this is going to be like, you know, not just to this little boy, but to his siblings. I can't wait to have a full house. That is just a dream. It's truly a dream. And I'm very grateful for this whole experience of getting to carry my son and getting to hopefully do that many more times, and viewing this pregnancy as just the first one. It's not the end of my time before being a mother. It's the beginning of this new stage. I'm just really excited. So that's something I'm on the edge of my seat for. I'm now at the point where I'm so ready to meet this little boy. Like, it's really interesting. I don't fear labor. I think I did for a while. Absolutely I did. I know I did. But at this point, I'm just like, let's do this. I'm ready. I'm sure it's not going to be fun, but I've also, I've heard people's stories, positive birth stories, that make me really excited, for the opportunity, but also to meet my boy. And that first meeting, I mean, you can't do anything better than that, truly. So that, I think, is where I'm going to end it today. But I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you want to subscribe to my Substack newsletter and join our community over there, I would love if you would head over to classicallyabby.substack.com. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, it's @classicallyabby, absolutely everywhere. I also wanted to mention at the end of this video, I'll probably say it in a couple more videos, that I am going to be having a baby soon. So I will be trying to get as much pre-recorded as possible before this baby comes. But I may have to go on some sort of maternity leave. And if I'm not on YouTube for a while, that's why, as you might imagine. So just so you're aware, I may have to take a break from YouTube after this baby's born. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.